Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it is time for a squat and deadlift day. And yeah, working in a little bit of conjugate style max effort. Of course, these weren't true maxes, these were just training maxes. But a lot of what I want to do is to find my different weak links, get to things that hit the edges of my mobility, put me into really awkward positions like trying to do some really wide stance box squats here on a deep box. That box is well below parallel, so I'm running this with chains. And honestly, it felt like at least 90%. I stopped everything when I got to about 90%, where it felt like. I just want to get a good run started on some of this stuff. So again, what we're going to do, continue to kind of do a 5-day split. I'm going to keep the back and bicep day right in the middle. And kind of like we did yesterday and today, we're going to do a little bit of conjugate type ME type days, but kind of winnings ideas though of the training maxes, and then track them Louis Simmons style and work up PRs on all this stuff. But the idea, we just want to start hitting different angles, odd angles, stuff that puts me out of my comfort zone. Okay, that put me out of my comfort zone, especially the chains, going onto that low box with that wide stance. It's like, man, that just felt awful. And that's the idea. Okay, so we want to get good at just maxing out all the time at all these crazy awkward angles. And remember when I used to do this, I got strong. And then we come in behind it and we build everything up with hypertrophy work at moderate volumes. Hey, I haven't sumo deadlifted in years. Notice I really struggled a little bit with the hip mobility. So things like the wide stance box squatting, addressing ourselves, keeping these belt squats really, really, really deep. Work on the depth on belt squats over even necessarily always adding weight. I want to get those hips stronger in these wide stances, right? I want to get them stronger because I've noticed I'm just as strong on the narrow stance squatting as I am wider. We've seen it. So again, the sumo, it's like, man, it felt weird. I haven't sumoed in a long time. So we didn't go crazy here. This is only 55 pounds of chains. I got up to 455 and I'm like, yep, that's enough. This felt heavy. Okay, it felt heavy. It felt like we hit that 90%. So again, just training maxes is kind of what we want to do. But I'm going to be doing this stuff, 4 days a week. So again, the idea by keeping them as training maxes, we get away with it. And also people are like, so why the harder exercises? Why the bands? Why the chains? Why doing some of these? Because again, it reduces overuse. Like actually bands and chains really help a lot with overuse. When you're going heavy. People are not aware of that. They don't think of that. They're like, why not just add more weight? Because sometimes it takes the tension out at the points that really actually do beat stuff up a little bit. So again, what we did here, work some awkward angles with the heavy singles. Then I came behind and I'm like, okay, so let's do hard sets. These were about 1 rep, maybe 0 in reserve. So again, these felt really hard. That was about a rep in reserve in the first set. The next couple, they got real hard on the last one, having to pull up a little bit. So I just supersetted those with weighted glute ham raises. Managed to get 8 with the 10. I should be dropping a little bit of this extra boof here shortly. Carbs, I took the carbs lower yesterday, replaced it with fat. So I should tighten back up to where I was a little lighter whilst training this way. So again, the idea, some of this I'm going to go heavy on some of this supplemental stuff, then some of it will rep it out. But I don't want to do huge amounts of really high rep stuff other than maybe muscles that can tolerate it or something like a pullover, maybe some band work, reverse hypers. But a lot of it, I want to be up around 6 to 10. So most of my supplemental work, assistance work, accessory work, going to be up around the 6 to 10 rep range. Try to just build muscle with it. But again, since we're going to hit all of it a couple times a week, other than the back and biceps, I'm just going to have them have their own separate day where we just come in. And that's going to be a pure bodybuilding day really for me. So we do all this stuff and I'm going to get that shoulder mobility back. I want to get the range of motion back. So notice with a little bit closer stance how deep I can easily get on these belt squats. So we need to work all that. But I've got to build that hip extension strength. So there may come a point where I go, okay, we might need some wide stance good mornings and stuff in here. Might need to come up to build that hip extension because those sumos I'm definitely not getting the amount of hip drop I need. I'm not quite mobile enough in that way. So there's stuff to work on. So again, we're going to be a little bit dominant on the posterior chain here, but keep in mind all those singles on the squatting and pulling and everything, they accumulate for quads. But then I just want 3 really good sets of the belt squats. Okay, and we might add a little bit more quad stuff back in as we go. My quads have been taking a beating lately though. My quad tendons and the lower quad itself has been having DOMs for a couple weeks now from the high bar stuff. So again, and all this really deep stuff is doing that. So I almost wonder if that and the combination, a little too much leg extension. So spacing it out a little bit and kind of watching that volume and just focus on quality, right? Just focus on quality sets with some progressive overload. So again, this still lit my quads up big time, So again, supersetted this with the glute ham raises, did the GHRs for right about 8. They were challenging. So again, we're kind of in that area of about anywhere from 0 to 2 reps in reserve is what I'm shooting for on all this work. So we're keeping it fairly hard. And I'm going to ramp up the training maxes as I go a little bit. I'm going to kind of start tracking them. I used to really track all that stuff. And then so every time we come back and do the same variation again, we want to try to hit a PR. But again, the heavy singles, we need to get strong again. I haven't really been doing heavy singles. I mean, I've done stuff where you guys have seen me AMRAP 550 on a deadlift and get 4 on a conventional, stuff like that. I did 455 for a high bar squat for a triple not long ago. So, but I want to start doing this on these hard exercises, the stuff that's really awkward, some of it. And we need more of those because, again, it's harder to get overuse. So I supersetted 3 sets of each of those, and then we did reverse hypers with neck extension. So my reverse hypers, I'm sticking with this weight I've been using, trying to get to 25. The 25 burns. Like I count it to 25, but sometimes I'm getting to like 17, 18, and I don't feel like I can get to 25, but I just push it out. So again, this is going to be where our higher volumes are. But because I'm going to be loading up heavy squats and deadlifts or squats and good mornings, that's plenty of axial fatigue. So I do want a lot of my other stuff to be putting me in traction. So notice I did weighted dips. You're going to see me do more weighted pull-ups. We're going to see more and more of this stuff. So the same thing here. This stuff is all kind of traction, belt squat, glute ham raise, reverse hyper. So again, I want to make sure my axial fatigue gets some stretching and pull the other way. I may work more of the hanging leg raises back in. I don't know how much I want them right now. I just didn't feel up to it today. It's my first day doing something like this again after having a leg day on Friday that I'm still a little sore from. I'm going to need a moment to get all this flowing. But again, in the past, we did really well here. And I'm basically combining methods. I'm taking the approach I used to get at my strongest, to get really, really, really strong. You know, when I got up well past 600 in the deadlifts, when I had a 365 closed grip bench. Okay, and I want to apply a lot of this again while continuing to work on physique stuff. So I'm going to continue to keep the fasted cardio in. We're going to keep diet super clean, where we're going to do all the training fasted, the stuff I've done to lean out. So we can hopefully recomposition further, get leaner. I'm still going to keep pushing biceps really hard. So I'm going to have dedicated bicep work. So the back end bicep day will have its own day. And then all the back work does work biceps too. So then again, biceps just get really, really worked. Very, very much a tricep dominant to my benching days, because I'm going back to closer grip benching and then doing stuff like dips and extensions. And so again, I'm going to make sure my arms come up. So that's going to be a big deal. I feel like at this point, if my pecs and my arms just fill out more and I get leaner and tighten the waistline up, the physique will continue to improve. So again, I only did 2 sets of the neck extensions. I want to do a little bit of neck work here and there just for the neck health. I had that horrible crick in my neck that's 90% better. But, you know, I still almost want to pop it sometimes if I'm sitting for a long period of time. So that's some of what you guys occasionally see in the lives. I'm literally trying to pop my neck. So if I bob my head, sometimes I'm trying to make it crack. And when it does crack in place, then it feels better. But it's 90% better. But I want to keep sleeping on it well and do a little bit of neck work to strengthen it. Of course, you guys know why we do the reverse hyperextension. So we did 3 sets of those at the end. And obviously we'll repeat something similar to this on Friday. But tomorrow will be the back and bicep day. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.